of us struggle with mental illness in silence, but as we work to collectively break that silence, more people are coming forward to share their personal mental health journeys, including our next guest.
Well, she's a best-selling author, mental health advocate, and professional organizer, and she's here to help propel the cause and conversation forward. Please welcome to the show, Ivanka Siolkowsky. Welcome, Ivanka.
Thank you for having me.
You struggle with mental illness at various points in your life, but finally diagnosed in the year 2004. And you initially kept your diagnosis private and then eventually started to tell people around you. So why did you finally decide to start talking?
I think, in short, it was a matter of I've been suffering for so long, even long before the diagnosis, that I needed to just get it out there. I couldn't do this alone anymore. And so on the second ever Bell Let's Talk Day, that's when I decided, you know what, this is the time. I'm going to share. And so I did.
Wow.
In your words, you are a suicide survivor, and you have spoken about waking up in the hospital and the doctor saying to you, you're lucky to be alive. In that moment, though, did you feel that way?
I would say lucky is the last thing that I felt. I felt humiliated because now I could add suicide to that long list of life's failures. And for people who don't know, when you're brought into the hospital on a suicide attempt, they put you in a room with a locked door and 2 police officers outside your door, and you're left in there with nothing but your thoughts, which is what got me there in the first place. It's the mental illness that got me there. So I was thinking about a lot of things. Guilt was one of the biggest feelings that I was feeling then, because then my father was on his way out west where I was living from Ontario, leaving my mother at home who had cancer. And to this day, I'll never forgive myself for that. And I'm sure a lot of people are thinking, wow, your mother was dying and then you decided to try to take your life? Like, what? That's a bit selfish. And if you take nothing else away from this but what I'm about to say, it's that when you are in that moment, the only way I can explain it is that your thoughts are not your own. In that moment, you know, the thoughts of suicide go through my head every day. That's been going on for a long time. Most days I can talk myself out of it because of my loved ones. So I'm existing on this planet not for myself, for everyone else. That's not selfish. In those moments, it was as if the mental illness won, and that's what happened.
You talk about needing people to lean on to get through the day, and for a lot of people that could be family, and yet at the beginning of this journey and sharing your diagnosis, they really were having real troubles and struggles understanding. When did that begin to shift?
For my mother, I know it was the first ever Bell Let's Talk Day because she was sitting in a chair and it was almost as if I saw a little light bulb go off and then, or on, however that happened. And then she started researching more and more, and the more she researched, the more she understood, which was so helpful. And then for my father, it was obviously seeing me in the hospital. But a pinnacle moment for me in my mental health journey was when my mother was on her deathbed. We each had our moment to say goodbye to her, and the final words she ever spoke to me were, "I'm sorry." And I said, "For what?" And she said, "If I had to choose between cancer and what you're going through, I would choose cancer again." And this is a woman who passed away shortly thereafter. So that was a sense of validation that I didn't even know I needed, but it was her saying, "I love you, and this isn't your fault."
One of the major priorities of Bell Let's Talk Day is to challenge and reduce... take a bigger piece. Yeah. One of the major priorities of Bell Let's Talk Day is to challenge and reduce stigma around mental illness. Stigma, though, is ever-changing, and it's insidious. So what is stigma looking like now?
I'd love to say it's gone, but it's alive and well, and it's become easier to talk about it in some ways because of the media, because of days like today. You know, celebrities are out there talking about it, which is great, but that has its pros and cons as well because, you know, when a celebrity talks about it, the world rallies around them and they get all this support, which is wonderful. They need this support. But then someone like myself who shares my same struggles, people kind of roll their eyes and treat me as though I'm not important enough to have these feelings, and they're not validated, and I'm treated like I'm not a human. A lot of people in my life have removed themselves from my life, and being alone is the hardest part of this whole journey. So I think we have it's great to have the conversation, but action needs to be taken as well. So we're in the right direction, but there's still work to be done, I'd say.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think we would all agree. Maybe one of the biggest misconceptions about mental health is that, you know, you get a diagnosis and then you get treatment and then you're all better and then you keep moving forward and life's grand. And that has not been the case for you in your journey. Your road has been circuitous. Can you tell us a little bit about your treatment journey to this point?
Yes, I've been kind of through the gauntlet of treatment. I've tried every medication. You know, they would make me numb or vomit all the time or pass out. And so the medication route didn't work for me. I've tried treatments. I've tried psychiatrists. I've tried, you know, test treatments that weren't even available to the public. And most of them didn't work. And that becomes a little defeating in itself as well, because people say try harder and you're like, I can't. What more can I possibly be doing, right?
Well, one of those treatments that you had some success with is called transcranial magnetic stimulation. So how does it work? What is it?
So it's magnetic pulses that stimulate a part of your brain, essentially to make that part feel happier more often.
Okay.
So when I went and did this one the first time, it was in Saskatchewan. And it was 20 seconds on. It's the same part of the brain every time. 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. And then they repeat that for 20 minutes for 6 weeks. And that time it was very effective. I've since tried it twice in a different part of the brain that was not as effective.
Got it. Okay.
So for someone like you who seems to have tried virtually all of the options available to you, what does treatment look like now, or what are the options available to you now?
I wish I knew the answer to that. I'm in current talks with CAMH right now, trying to figure that out. I've been on a waiting list to see a psychiatrist since moving to Toronto 4 years ago. So one of the issues that I'm having is that I'm not in a state of emergency right now, so I'm falling through the cracks. Like, it's a numbers game of there are too many people who need the help and not enough resources to help them. And this isn't a criticism by any means on the people who are working hard in this system to help out. But someone like myself, I just feel lost, and that makes me feel even more defeated on some days.
With treatment, it's obviously not one size fits all, and it's also a complete program, right? There's therapy, sometimes medication works, and it's day-to-day lifestyle changes and, you know, adopting new things. And one of the things that you tried out was decluttering, minimalism. And you really felt that by editing out certain things, it really helped your mental health space. Can you elaborate?
Oh, so much so. Yeah, I think the suicide attempt was a huge catalyst for my realizing that, you know, my physical surroundings really affected my mental health. So I was a teacher at the time. I went back to the classroom. I started taking things down, and I saw the correlation between my students' developmental growth and decluttering. And then I saw it in my own space at home as well, which has been so helpful. Like, I've not been on any meds. I've not had a psychiatrist, and I'm still here. So I felt I kind of had to take it into my own hands, because it was, you know, you've been given a second chance, so figure it out.
So figure it out. Someone's watching right now, and they may have someone in their life who is struggling right now, and they don't know what to do, and they don't know what to say. You've been in the darkest depths. What can someone say to help right now?
I would say ask that person what they need, because everyone's needs are different. Even for myself, the beginning of my journey, the things I needed were a lot different than what I need now. And so people assuming and taking the initiative to help me in ways that I didn't need almost feels more lonely, because it's like, you didn't even ask me. So, you know, treat us like people, ask us. For me right now, you know, just sitting down and watching Ellen and laughing, that's done wonders, you know. Getting jokes from my friends. One of my friends, Kelly, she's been a huge support system. And, you know, she asked me one day, she said, what do you need when you're really low? And I said, just give me something funny. And so she'll send me videos of her kids trying to pronounce my name and things like that. And it's just a funny way to say, okay, I'm thinking of you. I don't need to solve this problem. So just know that we're not broken. We blame ourselves for this situation that isn't our fault. We're already hard enough on ourselves, and it's not your job to fix it. Just be a friend. Just be a family member. Just be there.
I think you've helped a lot of people today. Thank you for coming here and sharing your story. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a list of resources at bell.ca/letstalk.